You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 296 of Podketeers. It's Armchair Imagineering time again as we take on Galaxy's Edge. Definitely a fun episode as we presented our top ideas for what we would do to this land. And I know, it's kind of ambitious since it hasn't even been open a full year yet, but we're taking it on anyway. Plus, we posted additional content exclusively for the FGP Squad where we continue the Armchair Imagineering process as we discuss a further array of ideas, including musical acts, parades, races, becoming a Jedi, holograms, and I talk about my idea on how to honor the original trilogy while still maintaining the integrity of the current timeline. This additional content, again, is exclusive to the FGP Squad, and in case you didn't know, the FGP Squad is an awesome group of listeners just like you that help us out with a monthly contribution via Patreon, and it's that support that helped make these episodes of Podketeers happen. If you want more info on how to join, all you have to do is go to podketeers.com/FGP for more info, and to all of the members of the FGP Squad, thank you for your continued support. We'd love to hear your thoughts on anything that we talk about, and you can join the conversation just by leaving a comment on the blog post for this episode at podketeers.com/296 or on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. Before we get this episode off the ground, we'd like to take an opportunity to thank FreshBooks for their support in sponsoring this episode. FreshBooks is the easy-to-use invoicing software designed to help freelancers and small business owners just like us get organized, save time invoicing, and get paid faster. Because who doesn't want to get paid? To try FreshBooks free for 30 days, head over to gofreshbooks.com/podketeers, and if they ask, how'd you hear about us? Make sure that you enter Podketeers. Am I forgetting anything? Probably. But that's okay because it's time to do this podcast thing. Here we go. This is episode 296 of Podketeers. Me.
Boom, 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 boom.
I don't think it's working very well.
What?
Everything, my voice, my throat, nothing's working.
My voice will be rather bassy today as I'm a little under the weather myself.
Aww.
Well, it doesn't sound like it. You sound great.
No, thanks.
Me, on the other hand, I don't think this is going to work out today.
Midlife puberty?
Something like that. I will say it goes really well with the random drooling that happens with all of the wires in my mouth. So that's a thing. I'm right in the middle of a meeting at work, and I'm trying to pose a very serious topic or something that we really need implemented, and all of a sudden, just out of the side of my mouth. So, that's a thing now.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully...
That's a good thing you're not a droid.
I mean, maybe that would be a better thing right now. It might be better. Hey, right now that I was trying to sing, it actually reminded me of something. I don't know if either of you know about this. Gavin, you might actually really enjoy this show because I know we share this weird, crazy love for TV shows that are spontaneous with music and dancing. But not sure if you've ever heard of it. I just saw the very first episode on Hulu a day ago. It's a show called Zoe's Infinite Playlist. Do you know of this show?
No, I don't. Do tell.
So the premise is this young woman that lives in San Francisco. She's a coder for a tech company, and her father has this really rare ailment, and so she's concerned that she has it. She goes to get an MRI. There's an earthquake in the middle of the MRI, and all of a sudden she kind of begins to hear people's thoughts, but they break out into song and dance to describe how they're feeling.
Interesting.
And in the very first episode, they go into this huge dance number with the Beatles' Help.
Oh, I'm sold.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sold.
I will tell you now, I cannot vouch for how good the show is in general because I just saw this first episode.
Sure.
I'm intrigued and I will continue watching. I don't know how long I'm going to keep watching for, but as it stands for the first episode, Zoe's Infinite Playlist looks pretty good. It's on Hulu.
It's actually, I'm looking it up now to add it to my list to give it a try. It's actually Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Oh, Extraordinary
Yes.
Playlist. That's what it is.
I'm adding it to my list now.
Extraordinary. Yeah. So far, digging it. If any of you out there have seen it, let us know what you think about it and whether it's worth continuing to watch it. I know that a lot of people's how they feel about shows can differ from person to person, but this one I have high hopes for, and like I said, I know as a Gleek, I think this is right up your alley, sir.
That's hilarious. I'm actually currently rewatching Glee right now for the third time.
Word. See? Plus, we were so enamored by High School Musical, the series musical.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, I'm waiting for more, especially now that they're going to be doing Beauty and the Beast in the next season.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Man, so many things to talk about. So little time, but I mean, I want to jump into Armchair Imagineering as quickly as possible this episode, obviously, because we're going to be Armchair Imagineering Galaxy's Edge, a land that just opened less than a year ago, and we're already waiting to tear it down and start from scratch.
We are so cocky.
Right? I mean, look.
I love it.
I mean, this is how you test the waters. You figure out what did and didn't work, and I mean, there are plenty of people out there that will argue that there's tons of things about Galaxy's Edge that don't always work. And so we're here to fix all of that. Ish. Kinda. Maybe. Sorta.
You never know. We got a good track record. Something might pop up within 2 weeks, and hey, you heard it here first.
This will be the ultimate test of what we've more or less proven already, but this will be the ultimate test.
Yeah.
If we see movement in Galaxy's Edge, then we know that we're missing paychecks.
Yeah, it is also going to be interesting because obviously we're trying to keep these episodes, within the hour, as short as possible, and we've recorded additional content for these Armchair Imagineering episodes, and they've gone up specifically for the FGP Squad up on Patreon. So if some of those ideas from the Patreon one somehow end up in the park, that is going to be curiouser and curiouser.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So in case you guys are wondering, the FGP Squad is an amazing group of listeners just like you that help us out with a monthly contribution via Patreon. If you want a little more information on how you can sign up and what it's all about, you can head over to podketeers.com/FGP for more information. To all of the members of the FGP Squad, we just want to send a huge thank you, obviously, to all of you for your continued support, because it's that support that helped make these episodes possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I got to ask you guys a question, because it seems that this is now a yearly tradition for the Disney company. This last week we saw yet another price hike. Doesn't seem to be as bad as the previous price hikes. However, this is the first time that a ticket on a fairly crowded day, or like a park hopper thing, has gone over the $200 mark. The latest round of increases essentially did introduce a 5-tier pricing plan for a single day, one park ticket. It's $104 for tier 1, $114 for tier 2, $124 for tier 3, $139 for tier 4, and $154 for tier 5. Again, that is a single park. When you take into consideration that you're getting a park hopper, you are now well over $200. This is obviously in anticipation of Avengers Campus opening this summer. Thoughts on this latest price increase?
Just glad it's not as bad as before, because some of us have been hit with like maybe close to $200 price hikes for our passes. Overall, yeah, it has to happen, and no one likes it. It has to happen. Again, I'm just glad it's not so much for some of us for once.
Yeah, the prices, it's interesting because I feel like the prices, it's supply and demand, right? And
right.
There's so much demand for these tickets that they can charge this much. Should they charge this much? I don't know. Do they need to pay for everything? Possibly. I'm not sure. But it is kind of sad that I feel like it is getting out of the range of, a lot of families who, just want to say, oh, hey, in a couple weekends, let's all go to Disneyland. And then the sticker shock of what they're going to see might, impede them from being able to do it. And that makes me a little sad. And all of the scheduling and like peak day pricing and, the way they've pushed the calendar around to kind of even out the crowds really has only done one thing, and that has been to make the parks crowded year round.
Right.
And it's interesting to see how it has evolved, and it makes me want to, and we'll talk about this later this year, but it makes me want to really discuss a third park to kind of spread things out a little bit, or even, competitor parks in the area. I wish they would draw more crowds so that there's true competition for Disneyland, to kind of even some of this out. Otherwise, this is the new reality. It's crowded all the time.
Yeah.
And it is a huge hike between what you would consider like a peak ticket to go into Disneyland versus going into just Knott's Berry Farm down the street.
Oh yeah.
Knott's Berry Farm, I think, has been doing a really good job of rehabbing their image over the past year or two and bringing in more entertainment. They've, cleaned up the park. I see a lot of people defecting from Disneyland to Knott's Berry Farm, not necessarily because they don't enjoy the magic, but because, like you said, when you think about pricing for a family of, let's say, 5, you're talking $320 to get into Knott's Berry Farm if you buy tickets online versus $770 for a single day at Disneyland. So once you start factoring in parking and food for those 5 people and drinks and maybe a couple of souvenirs or whatever, you're well above that $1,000 mark in some cases. And that's not including some of the premium things that you can do, let's say, like a Galaxy's Edge, which we're going to be talking about shortly in Armchair Imagineering. Like you said, Mel, this is obviously not as bad as some of the other price hikes that we've seen, but like you said, Gavin, it's a supply and demand thing, right? I think as Disney fans, we're always going to try to modify what we can in order to incorporate that magic into what we do and how we experience it. The Flex plan has become such a popular option for a lot of people here in Southern California recently that even having to set an appointment to go to the park, which seems odd, right? Setting a reservation to get into, this theme park. A lot of people, I'm hearing really great results from it, and they don't mind taking that extra step to go a couple times a month. Overall, we've said this before. I think this was part of the argument that I had last year when the price hike happened. And I want to throw out there, I struggle paying these passes just like many other people do.
Same.
But when you take into consideration that $154 per day and what it breaks down to having a pass per month, if you go once or twice a month, you've basically paid that admission price. So
yeah.
The fact that we're getting the opportunity to go day after day after day, now whether or not you do it, that's a different story. And so coming down to a flex plan, I think, has been a really popular option. It's an option that we're now considering for our own kids because they don't go as frequently as we do. And who knows, maybe next year, if this happens again, we might even consider it for ourselves.
Yeah. Charlie actually has the Flex Pass. She's had it since August, and she's been really happy with it. She goes a little less frequently than I do, so it's been just fine. Now, that being said, we are still in the first 6 months of that being a thing, really, so as people's regular passes start running out and they start deciding between the two and more people opt for the Flex, then it may become tougher to get the reservations, for the visit you want to make a week from today or 2 weeks from today.
Right.
But as it stands now, it seems like it's a great deal. The major thing that you miss out on is that free parking. And, that's why we're keeping one signature pass in the house, really for that, because that's a huge chunk right there, man.
And it doesn't seem like it, but parking can add up super quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, let us know what you think of this latest price hike. Obviously, we do feel that, any price hike happens for a reason. We're not always happy with that, obviously, because it does hit our pocketbooks just like it hits everybody else's. But, tell us how you feel when you try to rationalize it as, hey, this is how much my pass is costing me on a monthly basis, and this is how much a single day costs to get into the park. Is that a way that you see it as well? And maybe it's just me trying to rationalize it like that, or do you see it differently? Especially if you don't have a pass and this is a single day visit for you or for family coming, from out of state or something. During the conversation, let us know what you think over on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just search for Podketeers, or on the website, podketeers.com/296 is where you will find the blog post for this episode. So let us know what you think, and we'll share it in an upcoming episode. Gavin, March Mayhem is coming up, man.
Oh, yeah.
All the seating. I know you've been working behind the scenes to get all the seating done and get the bracket ready to roll so that I can map it out to post for everybody. How is that going?
Good. I'm excited about our topic this year, probably more than I was about last year's, because I like talking about different eras of Disney animation and, which did it best and, which era has the most meat to dig into. And so I love this competition. I'm very excited to see what our listeners think of it as well.
Nice. Mel, if you could predict who's going to take the entire tournament this year. So give me two answers. Give me your who you want to win and who you think is going to win.
Okay. I thought about this a little bit more, and I still think it's going to be Cinderella.
Ooh,
I don't know
wow.
why.
Cinderella's going to take the whole thing, is what you're saying.
I don't know. She's got a big following, and the castle's in Florida, so huge following. So we may see that. The only thing I could see happening is a let's say if we were to have something recent. That's a good question. Dang, I don't know. I'm stumped on Cinderella.
Okay.
Which one do you want to win? Is it Sleeping Beauty?
Oh, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I mean, with the poll that Cinderella's going to be having this year, obviously celebrating 70 years since the release of Disney's version of Cinderella, that might actually help Cinderella's odds. The castle at Walt Disney World is going to be getting a little bit of pixie dust. Over the next few weeks, they're going to be painting it. They're going to be adding some more blues. They're going to be adding gold to the turrets, and it's just going to be more magical looking, very much inspired by the castle that's in the film. So there's going to be that connection that people have with Cinderella this year. So I'm inclined to agree with you. Gavin, but I'm not going to completely. Gavin, who do you want to win, and who do you think is going to take it?
I want Pinocchio to win, obviously. I can guarantee Pinocchio will not win.
Do you think Pinocchio will even make it past the first round?
I think it will because of the seeding. I think it will. But I could easily see either, to me, I feel like it's either going to be something like Peter Pan or something from the Renaissance, like Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast. That's my gut instinct. Although I will not be surprised at the unrelenting push behind Frozen that Frozen could win it all.
Oh, really?
I mean, are we saying that Frozen is kind of a dark horse?
Yes.
Or maybe a light horse?
Water horse? I mean, Frozen and Frozen 2 are the number 3 and number 2 animated films of all time, box office-wise. So, I mean, there's a huge, huge amount of popularity behind them. So I wouldn't be surprised. You know, now, based on our listener base, I don't feel like we have a strong Frozen crowd, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see is the results.
Right.
Yeah. It is going to be interesting. One thing I will agree on is I kind of feel like something from the Renaissance is going to take the entire thing. Obviously, if I had to choose, I would say it's Beauty and the Beast. However, I think it's going to be between Little Mermaid or Aladdin that's going to take the entire thing.
Interesting.
I think those are the top two contenders because if you do think about the demographic that we generally tend to hit, a lot of us grew up in the same era, and those were films that really a lot of us connected with growing up. So I don't think, I hate to say this, Gavin, I'm so sorry, but I don't think The Lion King is going to have the roar power to bring it up and take the win.
That's dumb.
But I do think that Aladdin or The Little Mermaid are going to have, what it takes, to take the entire tournament this year. So it will be interesting to see where we land at the end of this whole thing.
Totally.
More information on the March Mayhem is going to be coming up very soon. The seeding is essentially done, and now it's just time to put the graphics together and post them for everyone to see. I believe that March 1st is actually a Sunday, so we're going to be starting this on March 2nd. So stay tuned for that. We're just about 2 weeks away, or under 2 weeks away from the release of this episode. I'm excited. We'll put up our official predictions on the website. Once it's live with the bracket, you'll be able to see daily updates on that bracket as well. So that is coming. Let's get excited.
Yeah.
We're going to have to come up with like a March Mayhem type hashtag for just like that excitement or something.
Heck yeah.
Okay, we are going to be talking about Galaxy's Edge, Armchair Imagineering very soon. There's a new dining package that's coming in the next couple of weeks, and before we get into that, we're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors. So, we'll be back in just a moment. Today's episode is brought to you with support from FreshBooks. Many years ago, I started doing some freelance work, taking photos for businesses, realtors, engagement sessions, and family photos. One thing that I always struggled with, though, was finding a good solution for invoicing, and that's where FreshBooks came in. FreshBooks is the easy-to-use invoicing software designed to help freelancers and small business owners get organized, save time invoicing, and get paid faster. They offer super simple solutions that let you create and send professional-looking invoices in seconds. On top of that, FreshBooks offers great ways to track time worked, create estimates and quotes. You can run reports to see how you're doing, process payments, and if you ever have any questions, their award-winning support team is there to help. If you're always on the move, don't worry. FreshBooks also has easy-to-use mobile apps for iOS and Android. Getting started with FreshBooks is extremely simple. You can try it free for 30 days by going to gofreshbooks.com/podketeers. You can also find a link in the post for this episode on our website. Also, make sure to enter Podketeers if they ask you how did you hear about us. If you're looking for a way to help your business grow, help you with invoicing and billing, get organized, and more, FreshBooks is there to help. So give it a shot and check out some of the great features that FreshBooks has to offer. That link again is gofreshbooks.com/podketeers. It's time to get back to the show, but we'd like to thank FreshBooks for their support. Thank you very much to the sponsor of this episode. Thank you to the folks over at FreshBooks. We appreciate their support in making these episodes of Podketeers happen. So as we talked about just a moment ago, there's a new dining package coming, isn't there, Mel?
There is. We have a new package for Magic Happens that will be debuting. That'll be debuting at the end of this month.
To be fair, there is a T in there. It's just silent.
There is. I can't say certain words. So yeah, this will take place at the Plaza Inn. And from what I understand, it's one lunch entree, one drink, one voucher, and you get your credentials, which is pretty cool. You get a really cool spot for about $40 in total, including your meal.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Even the
Does it include the dessert?
No.
Oh, they got a dessert in the picture though. That's terrible.
You know what? Maybe, but it doesn't say
Yeah, it doesn't say it in the description.
What it includes. So maybe. I'm just going by what I'm reading.
Yeah.
But it's $40 for adults and it's $25 for kids.
Do you know where the reserved seating area is for this package?
Behind the trees.
Shut up.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's got to be at the hub.
Behind
right?
the walls.
In the center of the hub.
Most likely they're in the front of the hub. I'm thinking facing the castle.
Well, the parade won't go in front of the castle, though. It's for the castle, or the parade, right?
Oh, you're right.
So it'll be probably facing Matterhorn, so you can see them coming, and then you can see them make the turn and go down Main Street, right? That would be my guess.
Yes.
This was specifically
you
why they got rid of the French fries in Tomorrowland.
Oh, you think it's going to be in that area?
I think so. I think it's going to be
on the outside of the
essentially
hub.
angled out of Plaza Inn, just looking straight at the castle. But I feel like it's going to part of the reason that they cleared out that area is for one, it's easier to walk through there, but I think the dining package is going to be out in that corner of Plaza Inn.
Got it.
So one thing I am seeing, I didn't know. I thought this was going to be like for later as well. It's only between the times of 1 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, and
those
the
are your
parade
reservation
is probably
times.
at 3:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So I was looking at what you posted, Mel. It looks like, yes, you will get dessert with this.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not a bad deal then, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, not having to wait around and camp out in a spot. You just get to go eat a casual lunch and then you've got your spot reserved for you. That's not bad.
And what is a common meal at Plaza Inn cost? Like, what are we looking at? If we got a good chicken dinner, or a good chicken lunch.
15,
$20?
$20.
$20?
Yeah.
So about $20 to also include dessert, which is generally somewhere between $5 to $8, depending on what you get. So you're looking at a good $25 for food. So, $15 for a reserved seat. It's not horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
Yeah, if once you kind of break down what you're getting, it's not too bad. I think for the first couple of weekends especially, it's going to be difficult to find a spot, especially considering that I think it feels like this parade has been highly anticipated. It's something that we haven't had at Disneyland in quite some time. Soundsational carried that flag for a really long time, and a lot of us really enjoyed Soundsational. But after getting a preview of Magic Happens at the D23 Expo, It seems like it's going to be a really, really fun parade. A lot of the floats that we've posted on the Instagram account, which we'll reshare in a story in case you haven't seen the concept art for that. We talked about how organic looking and how like flowy it is. Mm-hmm. So we are looking forward to seeing the parade in person. Gavin, not being a parade guy, will this one entice you to at least see it once, or are you going to book it to the attractions like you normally do?
Yeah, no, it looks very interesting. And to be fair, I've seen all of the recent parades. I've given them their due and specifically stopped and watched all of them. At least once, but usually only once, to be honest. But I'll definitely give it a shot and check it out. I am actually really intrigued by this little package. I think it's a good deal. And, Disneyland, it's always harder to see the parades in Disneyland than it is in DCA. It's easier to find a good viewing spot in DCA just because of general crowd levels. So this is really enticing. I could actually see myself getting this little package and having a VIP seat for the parade.
Yeah. I almost see them extending something like this over to Fantasia Gardens or the little Small World Mall that we have, where the steps are elevated. Mm-hmm. However, there aren't many eateries over there, so it would be interesting if they started to cater like out of the Red Rose Tavern or something else that's in there. I think would be a really viable option to bring some of that same experience past the castle in case more people want something like this.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, if either one of you get a chance to try that, let me know how it goes. I'm curious how that food is. Honestly, it looks like a very small portion compared to the Heyzen portions of food that I like to partake in. But it does look yummy. Mm-hmm. So there is that.
It's one of the best places to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, normally I just go for the chicken. You can't go wrong with Plaza Inn chicken. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of my go-to there. Okay, it's time. It's time for Armchair Imagineering. This is one of our favorite segments of the podcast, and this month we're taking on Galaxy's Edge. Like we mentioned earlier, yes, we know that it hasn't even been open a year, but we're ready to level the whole thing and spend another $2 billion of Bobby's money rebuilding everything the way that we want it. So, question that we ask every single time, obviously, how many ideas do each of you have? Because I have like one.
3.
Okay, maybe more than one.
Guys. I've got 5.
How dare you, sir? Make us
They're not all huge. No. They're not all e-tickets.
Yeah. Okay, so in all fairness, I do have more than one. I have about 8 different ideas.
Okay.
But
I want to hear them.
But of those 8 ideas, a lot of them I've talked about in previous episodes, so I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that. And then other stuff is kind of rehashing a couple of ideas. But so what we'll do is we'll present maybe our main 1 or 2 ideas. We'll see how that goes. And then for the FGP Squad, we'll continue talking about those ideas just to kind of keep the episode as short as possible. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
Go for it.
All right, so
get
Gavin,
that trophy.
kick us off then.
Oh, whatever. So we're gonna start with our headliners, right? And then do the rest after, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the thing that I'm gonna start off with is a piggyback from an idea from a listener that we got way back in our Critter Country episode, and I want to say it was Albert. I can't totally remember, but I feel like it was listener Albert. Who had the idea?
Squad represent.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Who had the idea of a Star Wars restaurant on that end of Galaxy's Edge, just beyond the Hungry Bear, right?
Yeah.
Well, I loved that idea, and I totally agree. I feel like there's not a great sit-down table service restaurant in Galaxy's Edge, and I think that's the one kind of missing ingredient, no pun intended. So, my main idea is a place I'm calling the Galaxy Diner. And I totally stole that name from a restaurant that I loved as a kid that existed in Salt Lake City when I grew up. It was this retro, old-timey, like 1950s diner.
Called McDonald's?
Called the Galaxy Diner. And it was my favorite place. Had a jukebox. They made all the flavored Cokes and shakes and, your regular diner food. It's kind of like Flo's in a lot of ways. But this one is not going to be like a retro 1950s American diner. I'm just stealing the name. This is actually going to be similar to a restaurant that they have in Disney World, which I love, which is they've got this drive-in movie theater there, right? Or restaurant. And that's what I want, except it's going to be a Star Wars theme. So it's the Galaxy Diner. Ooh. And this is going to be the hot spot for all the junkers and scavengers and smugglers and resistance fighters in the area. This is where they kind of kick back and congregate, eat food together, and just revel in, all the things that they do. Your booths are going to be your very own land speeder or some such similar vehicle. So it's like you drove in your little land speeder and you're pulling in to watch a movie and have dinner, with your sweetheart or whoever. So it's gonna have that kind of feel, but you're gonna be surrounded by Star Wars props and it's just gonna feel like you're in a local place from a Star Wars film. And of course, there'll be big screens and you'll be watching Star Wars movies. And then you'll get to imbibe drinks and taste the fare from around the galaxy far, far away. I think they have some great ideas with the foods in Docking Bay 7 and in Ronto Roasters and even in Oga's Cantina. But I feel like this is where I want to kind of bring in more flavors of the galaxy and really, have a lot more actual like Star Wars references. And that's going to kind of be the theme of a lot of my ideas is injecting more like familiar Star Wars into Galaxy's Edge.
Nice.
And I'll say it's because of this. This is the one thing that I see as a potential limit down the road for for Galaxy's Edge. And that is the fact that they've kind of locked in the story to a particular point in the Star Wars timeline. And it's really the only time they've done that in a land, like when Star Wars came into Tomorrowland and we had a bunch of different Star Wars things, it didn't matter if you saw Kylo Ren and Darth Vader, because it wasn't locked into a certain timeline. And I think that may cause some limitations for what they would ever change or update about I keep saying Smuggler's Run. Galaxy's Edge, because they placed it so squarely between two movies, and only the characters that would exist in the Star Wars universe at that time are showing up. And I kind of want to expand that. I want to blow that up like the Death Star and say, okay, no, this is just a place where some events in Star Wars happened, but it could be any point in the timeline. We don't have to lock it in. So anyway, first idea, Galaxy Diner, drive in your land speeder, have a meal, watch some Star Wars.
Nice. So
I love it.
Do you imagine like the vehicles, like just cutouts? Like I'm imagining cutouts of a bunch of Star Speeders and the different vehicles just kind of all outlined where it looks like they're all pod racing. And they're all racing for the food up at the front, but they're just kind of tables and booths.
Well, it's I don't know if you've seen pictures of the restaurant in Disney World that I'm referring to, but it's like you get into an actual vehicle and it's just set up like a booth inside a vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, so I want them to all be different. It kind of like Rollickin' Roadsters. Every single vehicle is a little different. They got different styling, different designs, different luggage on the back or something. And everybody's just pulled into their parking spot basically to watch a drive-in movie, and it happens to be, A New Hope or Attack of the Clones.
So you're envisioning full vehicles?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was under the impression that the restaurant at Walt Disney World had like the front cutout of the vehicle, and then the back of it was the booth that you were sitting in.
No,
which is kind of how I'm imagining this thing. I didn't realize that they were entire vehicles you were sitting in.
Yeah.
That's rad. I actually like that.
Yeah, and it'll look like it's floating, like you won't see the legs. They'll be hidden. And it's going to be indoors, so you're going to see a galaxy of stars above you. And, maybe like every once in a while a ship will fly over, like an X-Wing. I'll just make a little buzz over the top of you.
It's not going to do a peekaboo.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, not like opening day. No, pass. And then it'll look like it's an actual drive-in where they've got big movie screens too, where they're showing you these movies. And, you could get served by fighter pilots who are just picking up some part-time hours at the movie theater because
that's cool.
Work is short for resistance fighter pilots or something. Like you can throw all kinds of story into it, because that's what I like about Galaxy's Edge, is that you get to see kind of some of the real places that would exist in these Star Wars locations that you don't necessarily get to see, like seeing the mechanic shop and, seeing where they manufacture droids and things like that. I think it's all part of the coolness that I do like about Galaxy's Edge, and this would just be adding to that.
That is awesome. One thing that they could do, if you have stars all over the ceiling and the walls and stuff like that, is that every time that they're going to show a new film, somebody can just make an announcement and say, okay, everybody, hold on, we're about to hit light speed into the next galaxy to watch our next film. And then all of a sudden, all the stars surrounding you just hit light speed or hyperspeed. And it just feels like they blow wind at everybody, and it looks like you just like jetted into another galaxy for the next film.
That would be super cool.
I was going to say, if we could add something to the cars, that's the one thing I wish, that the vehicles in the cafe were to have like some interaction to it. So imagine you could like press buttons. You won't distract everybody else, but you guys will be able to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It could be like, I don't know if you guys have been to any of these movie theaters where they actually wait on you at your seats. And it could be like that, where you could have like a control panel or something, and you push a button for, service to come and, refill your drinks or whatever it is. I mean, I think that'd be awesome to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have something similar in my idea, which I'll be talking about later, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Very cool.
Awesome, dude. Super cool idea, especially considering that I do feel that Galaxy's Edge needs another restaurant that's more of a sit-down experience and is more than just the Docking Bay 7 that we have there, which I think the food there is super tasty. It's probably, in my opinion, the best food that they have on Batuu, but it does really need like that restaurant, experience. So awesome idea. Awesome. Mel, what about you?
Yeah. All right. So disclaimer. Everyone knows I love parties and stuff, so let's just throw it out there.
It's the Jar Jar Binks dance party.
Yes!
Oh, God, no.
It's on. Let's do it.
No.
Misa liked that idea.
Actually, I'm calling this Party at Oga's, and I'm just thinking this. Imagining being inside the hottest place, the hottest hangout. You really can't go in there unless you have a reservation. So let's take it up just one level. And what if we were to interact with DJ Rex with the technology that World of Color has on the Fun Wheel? Bring it inside Oga's. And this is what I would love to see. If you guys are familiar with like Mario Party, and you know how you could get about 4 people? So let's say it's 6, 10, whoever. Let's say you guys are playing these different games while the song is playing or whatnot. I think it'd be cool to have like let's say your prize, you collect all these points and whatnot. Certain amount of points unlocks certain things. So let's say this unlocks, you get to control the lights, or you get to control the atmosphere. Next level, you get to have a shout out by DJ Rex.
Ooh. Nice.
However,
We're just here to tell you it's Melissa's birthday.
I was gonna say they have to be like pre-recorded, because if they're custom, I don't want people to abuse it. So we got to be safe.
Oh yeah.
Well, they could be. They could have somebody screening them, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So he doesn't say it's Doo-Doo Head's birthday.
Can you imagine?
Or worse.
Think of it like that. We have our own little Wi-Fi inside the cantina. You can't get it from outside. Sorry, everybody. I know we want Wi-Fi Disneyland, but for this, we just got to have it inside. So I was just thinking about a different way to make Oga's Cantina just a little bit more exclusive. So
are you going to put up a red velvet rope out front and have a real bouncer?
That would be cool.
I imagine that it's like after 9, this becomes like Night at the Roxbury, Star Wars style.
Oh man, I can imagine just 2 aliens just bopping their head at an angle.
Yeah.
What is love? What are these galactic tunes?
So great.
That's awesome.
I do dig it. I think that's a cool idea.
So my idea actually is fairly similar to that idea, and takes a little bit of what Gavin was talking about. So my idea actually is something, if it was ever created, is something I may never get a chance to actually enjoy. And that is because I feel that if you are another planet, and let's say that you're royalty, from another galaxy, where would you go? Possibly not Oga's Cantina, but I believe that Batuu needs a special section / restaurant / bar that is like Club 33 on Earth at Disneyland, but its own private club inside of Batuu on a different planet.
Ooh.
Ooh, and instead of 1901, it could be the 1977.
Yes.
So I thought about that. And
or the THX blah, blah, blah.
So I actually thought about this, and I couldn't come up with a name, and it wasn't until earlier today when I was thinking about this that it struck me. I did think about making it numeric. I didn't think of the 1970s or anything. I thought about where are we on this timeline. But instead of taking that route, I wanted the antithesis of something that we're already familiar with in the Star Wars universe, and something that has popped up for us to consume that we never got a chance to go to, by the way, is, of course, the Scum and Villainy Bar. This, of course, being the antithesis, would be the Nobility and Virtue Lounge. Completely different spectrum. Some of you may remember that when they were releasing some of the concept art for Galaxy's Edge, there was a different type of restaurant / bar art that was out there that doesn't look like Oga's Cantina. It doesn't look like any of the restaurants. The idea behind the Nobility and Virtue Lounge would be that you have not just cast members or like the citizens of Batuu, but you would actually have decked out aliens serving you, making your drinks, walking around, like, taking your orders. Once you place your order, you have a droid roll around and bring you your drink, because they somehow give you like a little NFC chip that tells the droid where to take the drinks that you just got ordered. So there's going to be a lot of technology, a lot of the same RFID tech that we're seeing with some of the Kyber crystals and the holocrons and all of that, integrated into the Nobility and Virtue Lounge. I think that it should obviously have some food. It should have its own chef, the same way that Club 33 has its own chef now. But overall, I really do think that Galaxy's Edge, I think, is an amazing land in itself. But overall, there isn't a lot to do back there. Even with the two attractions, and that's actually something I'm going to be talking about, on the FGP side of the episode. But I think that if it had this extra exclusive experience, that it would just raise it up a notch. That, it kind of needs right now to give it that injection of adrenaline.
I love it. I have questions.
Sure.
What gives it its exclusivity? Is it an extension of 33, or
Yes.
is it a new exclusive club?
No, I would say that it's an extension of 33 and 1901. It's just on another planet.
Okay. So it's another part of the
awesome.
park that I'll never get invited to. Got it. Thanks.
Which is why I started off saying that if this ever happened, I don't think I'm ever going to go, because I don't get invited to cool experiences like that, really.
That's why Flynn's user gateway in Tomorrowland will be open to all.
Yeah. That would be good.
I love this idea, though, and I agree. And I remember that artwork that you're talking about, and I think we're seeing some of that play out more at the Star Wars Hotel in Florida.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. But having an exclusive spot here, I would not be surprised if there's a secret like VIP spot for like Iger and Co. somewhere in Galaxy's Edge already.
In the spires.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But it'd be really neat, and it would be cool. You mentioned the spires, but it'd be really cool in one of the taller buildings, like if it was up high, kind of like 33, so you could look down on the the common folk in the land. That could be really neat.
Yeah.
Did you think about a location?
I did. You know how when you're lining up to get into Oga's Cantina, you're up against there's a wall, right? Along that wall, there's actually a staircase that leads up to a door. And I've always wondered, what is in that door? And as far as I'm concerned, that's a broom closet or whatever, a Fliegenflorgen, whatever they call it on that planet. But if it's not a Fliegenflorgen closet, and that is indeed another room, what if all of those walls are one-way walls, like a one-way mirror? And what you actually have is like a break room or a lounge that doesn't allow you to see in because of the reflection that the sun casts on there and because of the paint. But from the inside, you're seeing all of Batuu.
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah. I dig it. And I'm looking at the satellite imagery of Galaxy's Edge right now, and behind that is ample room for a large-scale restaurant. So,
We're already mapping
so it
out.
is a Fliegenflorgen closet.
It's a really big Fliegenflorgen closet, yes.
Okay, so those are the three ideas that we want to throw out there for Galaxy's Edge. What do you guys think? Is there anything that you would like to see from those three ideas? Would you like to see all of them implemented inside of Galaxy's Edge? We'd love for you to join the conversation and let us know how you feel, which one you like. How would you modify the ideas, to enhance them and make them better? Those are some of the coolest comments we get a chance to read, obviously, when you take our ideas and you just expand on them. I love seeing those comments. You can join the conversation over on Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. Or you can head over to podketeers.com/296 and leave your comment there. So we're going to be wrapping up this episode, and we are going to continue this conversation for the FGP Squad. FGP Squad, make sure that you log into Patreon to listen to the other half of this episode. Closing thoughts before we wrap up this part of our Armchair Imagineering for Galaxy's Edge.
I'm going to say my closing thought is get in on the FGP Squad, because I myself am bringing another attraction, more musical offerings, and so much more in the next segment, and you won't want to miss it.
Nice. I thought about another attraction. I just have I want to talk about it. Yeah. Okay. So, Mel, closing thoughts?
I'm just excited to keep going. I am.
Nice. All right, so that's it. We're going to be wrapping up this episode. Again, FGP Squad, make sure to check for the link on Patreon to listen to the other part of this episode. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Made you look.